Before we leave our hotel in the morning, we have a preview of the World's Fair sites from our guide and from Antonio.
Today we will just go to visit this one, the red one, Chinese Pavilion. This actually here also, they have two very good. One is Japanese and another one is Saudi Arabian. Some of you maybe want to go to visit by yourself, right? And some of you maybe you need the guide. Then you may follow me. I will guide you to visit some places. Some of you just want to visit there a long time. Then you may just later maybe you may take taxi back home by yourself.
The third day, instead of leaving in the morning from here, we will leave late in the afternoon to allow everybody to see Expo at night.
Yeah, night scenery
with the lights.
And so we had a mix of strategies. The first day we went in the morning. We had an appointment with the China Pavilion, reserved entry. And the next couple of days we went later in the afternoon when it was a little less crowded and a little cooler, and with the lovely evening lights. There's some views of the Expo as we drive by, and heading on in, we went into the group entrance, so we didn't have to queue up to get in through the gate of Expo. And once you're inside, everything is no charge. All of the exhibits are included in your overall admission ticket. Here's our Hawaii group moving along. Very happy. There's no lines at all to get in the front door anyway. Look at these lines that could be formed during the day when it's crowded. All of these gates and railings suggest it can be very crowded to get in, but not when we went. Naturally, the most important and perhaps impressive exhibit is the China Pavilion, and it's also the most crowded. So we had reservations to get in and just had a short wait. The line moved along quite nicely, passing a whole bunch of friendly Chinese students who are also heading on in there. You'll notice most of the people are Chinese, except for us, our Hawaii group's happy to plunge inside. The first section has the short movie that tells the experience of Chinese urbanization over the past 3 decades, of the quick history of recent growth in China, the last couple of decades, showing how modern the country has become. Some interior views of homes over the recent decades showing the changes of the inside, and a wonderful moving painting. This was really quite remarkable, based upon a celebrated painting called Along the River, and it's displayed to reflect the ancient Chinese wisdom about cities. How marvelous to see this painting come to life. The China Pavilion takes visitors on a journey of quest, encouraging them to discover and comprehend the Chinese wisdom in the evolution of cities, starting with the country's unprecedented urbanization achievements over the past 3 decades. The exhibitions shed light on the classical wisdom embodied in China's urban development process. And then visitors are invited to ponder over the future. And then the next section features a ride themed as a dialogue between past and present. It offers a dynamic and exciting tour of discovery, enabling the visitors to find out themselves about the Chinese wisdom in city planning over an urban development path illuminated by the Chinese values and development outlook. And they also have a chance to show off some of their electric cars and other ecological developments as we exit this fantastic pavilion. What a display. It does get a little crowded at times, but there are many places in the fairgrounds where it's really not crowded at all. There's open plazas. There's a lot of breathing space here. And the exterior of the buildings is really and truly spectacular. There are several very large buildings at the Expo. This one is the Urbanian Pavilion. It's one of the 3 major theme pavilions, and it follows the daily life of 6 families from various cities around the world, from Africa and Melbourne, Australia, from Canada, from Sao Paulo, Brazil, with amazing multimedia displays, videos, and incredible architecture that you walk through as you follow the life cycle of the 6 different families. Follows a clock. You're in the morning all together comparing them, breakfast, and then on their way to work, exercising, health and fitness is an important part of the themes of the expo, as well as entertainment, recreation, and education. So this was really a beautiful focus on the 6 different families. Here we're in the great library. It looks like huge stacks of books. Of course, it's all part of the special effects with the videos projected on the wall, and you're free to walk around inside here. There's no rush. You can stay as long or as short as you want to and listen to the music, and you're just bombarded by the visuals. It's one thing to see it on television, and it might look pretty good to you, but when you're there in person and surrounded by it, it's phenomenal, especially these movies that are 360 all around you. And then the families wave goodbye as you head out of that part of the Urbanian Pavilion and on into the next section. Huge photo displays, multimedia, computer graphics, bright lights, and colorful scenes. That's very typical of what you find in many of the pavilions at Expo. And then for a change of pace within Urbania, there's a delightful Chinese tea ceremony showing you the real, official, correct way to serve Chinese tea. After all, they are great producers of that wonderful beverage, and they put on quite a display, a real change of pace from the slick multimedia shows. And then back into another section of Urbania, a huge globe. You look at it from the outside, ecological perspectives, and then you walk inside and look up at the dome. Here's examples of an apartment complex that's existing in Berlin. High rises surrounded by gardens and parks, a very ecological approach, a little electric car. And there was a fascinating photograph of a high rise that's proposed for Singapore. It's like a vertical farm. It's got greenery and vegetation covering nearly half of the outside walls, and ramps and terraces with open air ventilation. Urban practices at their best. Inside the dome, looking up at good and bad examples of urban planning, a little bit of pollution there, but a real focus on the positive and on the people and on the theme of one world, one planet that we are all sharing together.